Welcome back to another episode of Cricut Design Space Basics. I'm Laura from Laura's Crafty Life. Today I am going to go through Cricut Design Space and just kind of show you where everything is located. So when you're going in to go work on a project, you can figure out where you need to go to be able to make what you want. Over the past year, Cricut has made a lot of changes to Design Space, and so I have been getting many questions on where to find things in Design Space. So I thought I would do a run through of where everything's located so that you can more easily make projects when you open up Design Space. I am working on a PC desktop. If you're working on a Mac, it's going to look very similar. If you are working on a phone or an iPad, this is going to look completely different, but if you are interested in a video on that, leave a comment below and I can try and make a video on where to find things on the mobile app. When you first open Cricut Design Space, you're going to land on this home screen. Up at the top are kind of your basic account buttons. So if you click on the three little dots, you can click on File and open up a second window if you're working on more than one project at a time. You can reload your screen without completely quitting out of Cricut Design Space and then opening it up again. There is a help link. This shows which machine was hooked up to Cricut Design Space last. This is a chat button if you need to chat with someone for help. This is your notifications. If you have a public profile, it'll show likes and things like that on your projects. Then you have the cart. Then you have your profile that will show your email, your profile, notification settings. And then if you click on account, it will take you to a browser window to update your access settings. Below that, you can click on the link to subscriber deals, which shows deals for those of you that are Cricut Access subscribers. And then you can also click on this button to start a new project. This little light bulb is the Discover. So that is this screen that you see right here. So you can type into the search bar what you're looking for a project. You can click on these pre-made categories, or you can click on blank canvas if you want to start with a blank canvas for your project. Then there are suggestions below of things that are kind of popular that Cricut wants you to look at. There are your bookmarks, images that are suggested for you, projects suggested for you, things that are new at Cricut, and then some popular categories that people are searching for right now. Then if you click on this next button, it is My Stuff. And this has all of your projects that you have made, and then things that you have bookmarked. So you can find any project that you've saved, either that you have made yourself or that you've saved in Design Space. You can also go to that for images as well. And then another helpful feature under My Stuff is this collections. You can create folders and put different projects in them. So for example, these are all the stickers that I have available in my shop, so I can find them really quickly if I need to print out a new sheet of stickers. So that it can be a very helpful tool. And to create a new collection, you just click this plus button and it will prompt you to create a name, and then you can start adding things to that folder. Below that, you have some helpful links. So if you click on this one, it'll take you to your Cricut Access account so you can update your credit card or your subscription. This next one is the heat guide. So that will take you to a browser window where you can enter in what material you're using, what iron-on product you're using, and then it will tell you exactly what temperature and what time to press that project with a heat press or with an iron. And then you also have a link to the shop if you want to order something from Cricut. So I will show you really quickly. So if you click on, for example, vinyl decal, it'll show you, like, do you want to make a vinyl decal for a water bottle or for a wine glass or for your phone? If you click on phone, then you can click start designing and it'll open up a project. It will also give you project instructions for how to create the project. So if you're a beginner, this can be really helpful when you're just getting started out creating projects. Now that we've opened a project, you can see up at the top now we have canvas and home. So if I click on home and then click on blank canvas, that will open up a brand new blank canvas. So again, from this screen, you can click on My Stuff, which will take you to your own projects that you have saved. Then you can click new if you want to try a new project, and that will pull up all of the project types, or you can start from scratch with a blank canvas. If you click projects, it will pull up pre-made projects that you can search through, and then you can also look at your bookmarked projects or your stuff, things that you have made yourself. Along the side here, you have things that you can add to your canvas. So you can add shapes, images, text, or monograms. So if you click on shapes, you'll see there are a bunch of free shapes that you can use, and then the ones below it are included with a Cricut Access subscription for free. And then you can also filter these by type of shape to easily find what you're looking for. The next category is images, and again, you can search, and then you can filter by a lot of different things: free, purchased, how complex the image is, what type of image, if it's a cut, draw, print then cut, if it has multiple layers, etc. And then there's also an advanced search that will pull up both images and image sets. So if you have used Cricut for a long time, there used to be cartridges that you would actually have to plug into your machine. Cartridges are now called image sets, and so you can find those things here. Some of these image sets are included with your Cricut Access subscription, some are free, and then some you have to pay for. So especially the licensed images like Peanut, Disney, Marvel, those kinds of things, you're usually typically going to have to pay for. But there are, if you scroll down, you can see there are other ones. So for example, this will say subscribed because I have a Cricut Access subscription, so I get all of these images as well. So this can be helpful if you're working on a project and you want a cohesive set of images that all work really well together. Searching through the image sets can be a really helpful way to search for project ideas and images. Next, if you click on text, this brings up the text box. So this will bring up the edit bar, which we'll go through here in a second, but this is how you add text to your screen. And then if you click monogram, it gives you the option to create different kinds of monograms. This is, I do believe, part of a Cricut Access subscription, so you can see that here. So you need to have that to be able to make a monogram. This layouts button used to be what was called templates. If you go into one of my previous videos, I have a whole video on how to use these, but basically, like, let's say you're making a t-shirt, you can click on t-shirt, you can choose, I'm making an adult medium t-shirt, it'll pull it up, and then you can visualize what your graphic is going to look like on the actual t-shirt itself. So this can be really helpful if you are trying to design something and you want to see how it's going to look on the finished project. This is only for display on the canvas itself. None of this part of the layout is going to be cut or anything like that. It's just for you to visualize what your project is going to look like. If you want to change it or get rid of it, you can click on the actual layout itself and then click delete if you want to get rid of it. The next button is upload. So if you have purchased or designed your own image, so an SVG, a PNG, a JPEG, things like that, you can upload them here. And you will click upload image, and then I have another video that will walk you through that. It's a tiny bit different now, but the basic idea is the same. And then the last thing over here is create AI. And so you can now type in words of what type of image you are looking for, and it will create an AI image for you. So this works on a credit system. So below you can see I still have 20 of 20 monthly credits remaining. This could be different depending on if you have a free account or if you have an Access subscription. So you can see that, and then it'll also have a spot for if you've created images and saved them. For any of these options that you're going to choose here on the left side, if you have selected something and you are done with the open window, you can click this little arrow button, it will close it, and then you'll have a much bigger canvas to work with. This over here is your layers panel, which will show your different layers of your project. You can also click out of that, and then if you need to click back into it, it just has this little stack of layers. You can click that and it will open it back up. Now let's add an image so that I can show you how to use the edit bar. Because right now, when you have a blank canvas or you're not clicked on things, this edit bar does not appear, which I know is very confusing for a lot of people because it used to just be permanently up here. So if we add an image, let's just do one that will have a lot of layers and colors. So we'll choose this rainbow. Again, you just click this little arrow to move that back so you have more space to work with. Now you can see I've added an image to the canvas. So now the edit bar is up here to be able to change different aspects of this image. So you can see over here, you have a little exclamation point. It's saying it's too big to be cut out, essentially. Let's make this smaller, but we will make the canvas bigger. So you can increase or decrease your canvas size to be able to see more detail by clicking this button. So this first drop-down menu is your operations menu. So you can see we have basic under cut selected. So this is going to be a cut design. It's not going to draw it with a pen, and it's not going to print then cut. So it's just cut. You can also change it to wavy or perforate if you want a different option for cutting out the actual layers of your design. If you click on draw, for example, it will change your image to one that will be drawn. This one is selecting a pen. You can choose foil if you have the foil tool, score, deboss, or engrave, depending on which tools you're using. And then if you click, let's go back to the cut. If you click print then cut, this will change this image. It will flatten the image, and then this will be printed on a piece of paper, which again, this is too big for that, but it will be printed on a piece of paper, and then you would load it on that printed paper or sticker paper or iron-on, whatever it is, onto your cardstock mat, and then cut it out with the Cricut. So let's go back and make this a basic cut. This next button is your material colors. Since the entire rainbow is selected, it has a question mark, but if I were to select, for example, just the heart, then you can go in here and change the color. So I could make it whatever color I want. This doesn't really affect your cut project, except for every color is going to be cut out on a separate mat. So you have to keep that in mind. If you are converting this image to a print then cut, then the colors will match what is on the screen with what is printed out on your printer. You can also click advanced and choose specifically which hex color code you want, or you can, change it here. So there are a lot of different options for changing the color. When you're working on a cut project, this is helpful to both visualize your final project, but also keep in mind that anything that is the same color will be cut out on the same mat from the same material. So you can also click on over here, material colors, and then you can drag and drop things here to match colors. So if you want to make sure that, let's say you add text to this and you want the text to be cut out of the same material that this green part of the rainbow is cut out of, you can drag that text up to here and then change that so that they're exactly the same color. If they're off by even a little bit, they will put that material on a different mat. Then you have size. So here, if you click on size, it used to have the little button next to it where you could type in a specific size. Now you have to click on this button and then you can type in exactly what size you want. If the lock is locked, then it will keep your image in the same proportions that you started with. If you unlock it, then you can change it where it will distort the image, but make it the exact size that you want. So we're going to undo that real quick. Then you have the flip tool, which you can flip things horizontally or vertically. There's the arrange tool, which if you have, let me add another image so you can see how this works. So you have this rainbow selected. If you click arrange, you can move it to the back. You can change the position on the canvas. And then if you have two images selected, you can align them to the top, to the left, horizontally, vertically. You can center them. If you have multiple images, you can also use this distribute to make sure everything is nice and even, lined up either vertically or horizontally, which it's not showing because there's only two images. Then you have a rotate where you can rotate your image. Effects is now where you can find offset, sticker, and warp. So these are newer special features, but they have been around for a while. So offset creates a border around your image, and you can change how big the border is. You can change whether it's rounded corners or square corners, whether it's welded, all of these things. Very similar to offset is sticker, but instead of creating just the offset behind there, it will automatically convert your image into a sticker rather than doing the extra steps of flattening it and things like that. And then you have an option for kiss cut or die cut. Kiss cut means it cuts just through the sticker, leaving the backing in place. If you die cut it, it cuts the sticker and the backing out completely. And then you can change the border and a lot of different other things here. And then last under effects is warp. This is a Cricut access feature. So you can kind of change how your design or text looks with these different options. And then you also have the combine tool, which has slice, weld, flatten, and then also unite, subtract, intersect, and exclude. So these options all allow you to manipulate your image to create a new image. So most of the tools are up here on the edit bar itself. There's also some tools underneath the image. So there's a delete button, there's a duplicate button, so you can make a copy of your same image. There is an attach, so you could choose all of these images and attach them together, which makes them all one color because they will all be cut out of one mat in this exact formation. Then you have ungroup. So right now, if you look at this rainbow, if you move this, it all moves as one cohesive image. If you ungroup it, then it separates the layers. So you can manipulate each layer individually. And then there is this little 3 dots with more, and this gives you options to cut, copy, duplicate, delete, select all, of which will select everything on your canvas. You can arrange things, combine, attach, and flatten. So it's kind of a lot of these same things that are in the edit bar or in the layers panel. In addition to these little buttons below the image, you also have these drag buttons on the image itself that allow you to click on them and drag and manipulate how big or small your image is. You can see as I'm doing this one in the corner, things are changing not in proportion to the original image. To fix that, you're going to go to size in the edit bar and make sure that the lock is clicked and that it's locked. And then when you use the corners, it will only go up or down in the fixed proportions that the image is locked in. But you can still use these, the top and bottom and the left and right. Those don't ever get locked. And I don't believe there is a way to lock or unlock them anymore on the canvas. So if you're having trouble with using these the dragging in the corner to size things, check to see that if the lock is locked or unlocked up here at the top. So in the layers panel, you also have ungroup, you have duplicate or copy, delete. So it will do that to whatever you have selected in the layers panel. These options will work on whatever image you have selected, or you can select multiple images if you're wanting to do something like that. You can also do the combine options, you have attach, and then you have flatten. And then once you have your design how you want it, then you will click make, and it will ask you to save it if you want to save it to your projects, which is that My Stuff little folder file box. And then since I have a Maker 3, you can cut your materials either on a mat, without a mat, or on a card mat. So we're just going to say on a mat. You can apply this selection to all future projects if you want. You can choose what size mat you're using, things like that. You click confirm. Here's the mat preview page. So for each individual color that was on your canvas will be a separate mat that you will be cutting out. And then on that mat, you can change with or without mat. You can go in individually. So if you have a smart material for, let's say, one layer, but the other layer you have to put on a mat, you can change that for each individual layer. You can change your material size. You can select mirror, which rotates your image so that if you're cutting out iron-on, you put your material face down on the mat. So you need to mirror it so that it cuts it in the correct way. And then you can click on each individual mat. And then from here, you can actually move things around your mat if you need to, or hide something. If you don't want to cut it for some reason, you can do a lot of things on this mat preview page. And then this is showing you exactly how it's going to cut out using your Cricut machine. And then if you click continue, then you'll select your machine. I don't have my Maker turned on right now, but it will show if your machine is connected, then it'll take you to the screen where you select your materials and things like that. I hope you found this video helpful and that answered some of your questions on where to find things in Cricut Design Space. If you have any additional questions, please leave them in the comments below and I will make sure to answer them. If you need more specific instruction on how to use specific tools like slice, attach, flatten, things like that, I have a video on almost each tool in Cricut Design Space. So they may look a little bit different because some of them are older, but once you know where to find the tool, most of the steps are still the same, even though there have been some changes. If you found this video helpful, please click the like button or subscribe to my channel, and I will see you back here for more Cricut Design Space Basics tutorials.